Today, we're covering innocent spouse relief under Internal Revenue Code Section 6015. When a married couple files a joint return, they are each held jointly and severally liable for the entire tax liability. This means the IRS can collect the full amount from either spouse regardless of who earned the income. However, Section 6015 provides 3 avenues for relief in certain situations. You must know the distinctions between them for the exam. The 3 types are innocent spouse relief, separation of liability, and equitable relief. A taxpayer requests any of these by filing Form 8857. The exam will test your ability to choose the correct relief based on a scenario. A classic exam question involves one spouse understating tax due to unreported income or erroneous deductions that the other spouse was unaware of. Let's start with innocent spouse relief. This provides relief from an understatement of tax. To qualify, the requesting spouse must prove they did not know and had no reason to know about the error that caused the understatement. The exam loves to test the reason to know standard. For example, if a couple reports $80,000 in income, but takes lavish vacations and buys a luxury car, the IRS would argue the requesting spouse had a reason to know their lifestyle didn't match their reported income, thereby disqualifying them from relief. Next is separation of liability. This relief separates the tax liability from the understatement between the 2 spouses. The key requirement here, and a major exam trap, is that the requesting spouse must be divorced, legally separated, or have lived apart from the other spouse for at least 12 months. Unlike innocent spouse relief, this can apply even if the requesting spouse knew about the underlying error. But they will be allocated the portion of the tax liability they were responsible for. Finally, there is equitable relief, which is the catch-all option. It applies when a taxpayer doesn't qualify for the other 2 types of relief, but it would be unfair to hold them liable. A critical distinction for the exam is that equitable relief can apply not only to an understatement of tax, but also to an underpayment, where the tax was reported correctly but not paid. The filing deadline is another testable area. Generally, Form 8857 must be filed within 2 years after the date the IRS first begins collection activities. The exam might present a timeline and ask if the taxpayer is eligible to file for relief. For a memorable shortcut, just remember the phrase, I separate everything. I for innocent when I didn't know, separate for separation when you are legally separated or divorced, and everything. For equitable when everything else fails and it's simply not fair, covering underpayments too. Be careful with community property state rules, as the IRS might still be able to collect from the requesting spouse's share of community assets, even if relief is granted. The exam expects you to identify the specific requirements for each type of relief and apply them correctly to a given fact pattern.